Eyes down for And there we are, folks. What was one has become two. Heat it up like fury. Tap all the way around the outside circumference. Tap, 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 tap with a hammer until you see hot rust starting to fly out the gaps. And then you know you're beginning to get to it. And then slack it. Cool it down. Then reheat it again. And then I started putting oil around there and watching the oil go into the space where the rust had been. And eventually it just came loose. And that was it. So now it's slack it off, clean it down, clean the inside, clean the outside, and it'll be as good a fit as that one, like that. And then it will be greased, and that'll be the job done. So what we have to do next is free off these check chains so they can be adjusted. Right, shouldn't be too difficult. I might even free them with a little blow lamp, because all I need to do is heat that collar there. I could probably put them in the big blow lamp, and then we need one of those, because we've got that one and that one. As you can see, that they're different lengths, and that's why that bolt was hammered into the chain here to take a bit of space. Oh, sorry, there to take a bit of space up. So that needs doing, but I might get one of those from good old Scrutons. A check chain shackle, and then we've got those two to free off. I've got another thing. Oh, the nut. Yeah, I know. There's a nut on a piece of chain somewhere that needs freeing up as well. But I've just temporarily misplaced that. It could still be down here somewhere. I don't know. Anyway, it's going ahead of pace. We're making it behave. Right, I'm now going for a well-earned meal, and I'll bring you back when I'm doing some more. Bye now. There's another one done, all freed off, and that one's out of there now. So we've just got that one chain left to do, and the jobs are good. All freed off. Then it can be cleaned up, wire brushed up, bit of paint and a lot of grease to keep it good. And the weather has turned its hog out and decided at the moment to be wet. I do love that slurry tanker, the Joskin. Right, I'll do the last one and I'll bring you back when they're all done. Bye now. There we are, folks. 5 to 5. Everything freed off. Everything adjusted. Well, I haven't greased it all yet. I'll do that when I put it back together. Apparently you're not supposed to grease the ball ends because it says it picks up dirt and they wear, so you leave them dry. But that's it, all freed off. I need a few new pins, because most of the pins are like this. Well, that's actually a decent one, I could reuse that, but most of them are very badly corroded, and so there's a pin that fits. So we want some of them. Down to Scrutons for some more tractor pins and some shackles. If I can get another D shackle for there. This is the lower link, not the lower link, the check chain shackle. That's the right one. This is not the right one. That was the wrong one, and that was longer. This made the check chain longer at one side, and because of that it had an old bolt hammered in between the two like that. Had been braided in there just to shorten it, so we'll have a new pair of check chain shackles that are the same length and put it back together. But there it is, all freed off. The magic tool for doing this job was the brazing hat and the super blow lamp, the blow lamp of death. I've only got one problem now, and I don't quite know what to do about it. This thread is bent. Right? It's bent just there. You can maybe see it. It's bent just there. Now, with a bend in a thread like that, what you can do is put 3 nuts on and put 1 nut at either end, equally spaced at the side of the bend, and then get 1 nut as near to the bend as you can and just put it under a hydraulic press and just gently squeeze it down and screw the nut on a bit more and gently squeeze it down again, and you can successfully straighten the thread doing that. I've done it before, but there's 2 problems with that. A, I no longer have access to a hydraulic press, and B, in order to take this to pieces, one has to take this, can you see this tin cover here, take this tin cover up, and somebody's blobbed it on with 3 bits of weld. It may come from the factory like that, I don't know. But tomorrow I may investigate that. I may just investigate that, see if we can get this shaft straightened out, because it's a bit of a pain in the arse, because of course when you wind it round it goes jiggle, 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 and lifts one arm all the time, so it doesn't, you can't adjust the height smoothly with it. And it isn't much of a bend, but it's just enough to be annoying. But it's nice to see these moving again after God knows how many years. So there you go. Right folks, that's it for today. It's Wednesday, isn't it? Is it Wednesday? Yeah, I think it's Wednesday, isn't it? Right. So I have to go round my bedtime routine now, shut everything down, check everything's turned off, check nothing's on fire, turn all these sockets off, and go home. So I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye bye now. Good morning folks, it's Wednesday, it's lunchtime. I've been doing nothing of note this morning. I've got my bits out of the vinegar soak, out of the cider apple vinegar soak, and painted them. So they're all done, looking good. I've been round to see my mate John and borrowed 3 oil cans off him, oil drums off him, ready to drain the oil out of the tractor. I've spent about an hour cleaning them drums out, and I've just had a cup of tea, just a nice cup of tea and some lunch. So we're now ready to take off the drawbar, which is almost off anyway, just to get that 1 bolt out, take the drawbar off, and then drain the oil and take the filter casing off to see if the filter is clogged, or at least to clean the filter out anyway. And let's hope it doesn't need any further work after cleaning the filter out. But I don't know what this oil's going to be like. I mean, if it's reasonably clean, I can just reuse it. But if it's emulsified, creamy, watery muck, then it'll go down the dump, and I'll put some fresh in. There is, I think it said 46 litres in here, so there's quite a lot. So I'm going to crack on with that now. The first thing I've got to do is get a bolt out underneath, which holds holds a peg, or a little plate, which holds the pin in, which hangs the other end of this drawbar, which is bloody heavy. I looked up last night on the internet, on the great welding website, the UK welding website, and the general opinion is of these that they are made of cast steel and they weld very well. And most people say make the hole a bit bigger, put a bush in, make a bush, put a bush in, and then weld the bush in. It makes a better job than trying to weld the hole up and then file it out or machine it out to size again. So that's what I'm going to do. But the first thing to do is get it off, and I'm going to crack on with that now as soon as I've finished my cup of tea. Right, I'll bring you back in a minute when I've done something interesting like these. Oh, I decided last night that I'm going to have a go at straightening this bend. I've got a little press that's probably pathetically too small, but it'll put a couple of ton on, so I'm going to screw that up to there, put a support under that cast box, and then just press on there and see if it'll straighten. We might just be able to get a bit of bend out of it. If we get a bit of bend out of it, it'll be good. Right, at the moment it wobbles all over the place when you try and crank the handle, but if we can get a little bit of bend out of it, it'll be cool. So I'm going to have a go at that today, maybe, unless I get stuck into the gear case and get covered in oil. Alright, bring you back in a minute. There she is, folks, she's off. And you can now see how badly worn that bloody hole is. Can you see that? There's a bloody huge amount missing there. So, we're going to bush those down and weld the bushes back in, because that's so thin. That really is so thin. But we can fix it. We have the technology. Bit of muck on there where the PTO shaft has been leaking, but we have a new seal for that. So that's what was holding it in. Little plate with a bolt in it into that slot there, like that. Still hot. Like that. So I heated it up. Tap, 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 tap. Heat, 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 heat. Tap, 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 tap. And she came loose. So there we are. That'll have been on there since 1955. Right. I shall now do a bloody awful job. Get a scraper and scrape all the crap off from around the filter case, which is up there, and then we'll start taking some oil out and see what it's like. Yuck! Bye now. That's the muck off the drawbar. That's the muck off the underneath of the tractor. So we're all clean and we're ready now to start draining the oil. I've had a visitor. Keith's just been up and stopped for a natter, so I've slowed down a bit, but now I'm speeding up again. But I'm taking a fairly casual view to today because it's going to be messy and it's going to be unpleasant. So there you go. Right, I shall get this shit shoveled up, have a cup of tea because it's just gone 3 o'clock, and then we'll clean that red can out for a drain can, and we'll crack on with the drain down. Right, see you later. Here we go, folks. Just see if I can get you. Right, there you go. I've loosened the bung. Got my clean tank underneath. I've got my marigolds on. So let's see what sort of execrable crap comes out of here. Here we go. I'm going to have to put the bung back in. Are you ready? Oh. Absolutely bloody nothing. God, it's thick and black and shitty. I wonder if it's actually... Well, that's not going back in, is it? Oh dear. Well, at least there's no water in it, which is a bloody good start. Oh, that is horrid, isn't it? No, it doesn't look like there's much in it. Is it black? Somebody's been putting waste engine oil in it. Oh, look at the sludge. Look at the sludge in there. Look at the bit of sludge in there. My God. Well, I won't be putting that back in, folks, and that's the thing. No, it actually smells like hydraulic oil, but I don't see why it should be black. It shouldn't be black, I think. No, it could be any bloody thing. It could be any bloody thing. Anyway, I'm not going to have any trouble putting the bung back in because it isn't balloting out like I expected it to. That was a good start. So the bolt's going to come out easy. using. Right, we'll call that it for the first one. We'll try and get the bastard back in. See if we can pour that. Not as easy as you think. Until I put my gloves on. Oh no! I'm wrong-handed. That feels good. That feels good. There we go. Nasty black shit. That's what that is. Nasty, nasty, horrible oil. Let's pour this into the food. Right, that's one load out. Here we go for the second one. Horrible. Right, I'm going to take my gloves off and turn this off because there's no point in you watching black oil drain out of a sump, is there? I'm sure you're not interested in that. So, move the oil from the take the gloves off. I'm going to switch you off. I'll bring you back in a bit. Bye now. Hey folks, Wednesday, just gone 4:30. The oil is drained and the filter is out. And I don't think that there's been any oil whatever getting through that filter. It's completely clarted. Completely clarted, and I think that somebody has been putting used engine oil in this. In fact, I'm pretty sure they have. Right? Because it shouldn't be black. Or at least I don't think it should be black. But anyway, we're going to have to come up with a plan to wash it out, to swill it out. Now, there are several ways to do this. This is the filler plug, here, that's the filler plug, but if you look at this whole top cover comes off, but I don't know how much of a job it is to get it off. So I shall be doing some research tonight, but at the moment the 4 bolts are out. It's open and it's just dripping and draining, and by God there's some crap coming out of it. It's just like lumps of horrible goo-oos out of it every now and again. So, whoops, instead falling over backwards, tripping over the tow bar. So we can see quite easily why the hydraulics weren't working very well. What happened was when you put it into the lift position, they sort of went up a little bit. And when you put it into the down, they went down a little bit, but there was no power in them, and it was obvious that they weren't right. But at that time, I had no use for them anyway, so I wasn't that bothered. Let me just get a scraper and have a look at this. Oh, isn't that lovely? There's a filter. There's a bit of filter under there. Absolutely blocked. Absolutely blocked solid. So there we are. So that wants to go in an overnight petrol soak, I think. petrol. Oh God, look at the state of that. I'm not touching that till I get my gloves on. Right, okay folks, I shall soldier on a bit more. It's 4:30, but if I can get this in an overnight soak in some petrol, which means cleaning it off as best I can first with a scraper, that'll be a good job done. I've got about about 30 litres out of it. Probably, maybe a bit more, 32, 33 litres. Now I think there's supposed to be 45 litres in it, but I'm not sure. So it was maybe a bit low, although I remember checking the dipstick and it wasn't particularly low. But I definitely think we need a swill out, we need a flush out here. And I would have thought the medium to flush it out with would be diesel. So I shall do some research on that, and I shall bring you back if I get that into a soak before home time. Alright, bye now. Well, that's it for today folks. I haven't put it in petrol, I've put it in diesel to let the diesel soak into the oil and soften it, but it's coming clean quite quickly actually, but good grief as it cut it up. Right, so what I'll do is tomorrow I will wash it in petrol, right, and then we shall see about cleaning it out. See what the advice on the internet is about cleaning it out. So I'm quite pleased, right? There's no sign of any metal. I've taken one of the magnetic plugs out. There's 2 magnetic plugs as well as this filter, and there was a coating of very fine metal powder on it, and that's all. So that's pleasing. The second thing that's pleasing is that the gearbox wasn't half full of water, which is always a possibility with something that's been stood outside for donkey's years. In fact, there isn't a trace of water in it at all, so good show. So it's looking good. I'm quite pleased. The only bugbear really is to wash it out. Now, if it was any sort of normal thing, engine, etc., I'd say, right, we'll put some cheap oil in it, we'll run it for a couple of months, and then we'll strip it, we'll drain it again, take the filter out again and clean it. But there's a problem with that, and that's the fact that the capacity is so large. As I say, I think it's I think the manual says 42 litres or 46 litres or something. Engine fault finding chart. I'll look it up and tell you tomorrow. I won't bother going finding it now. I'm taking those home with me to read up on it, and I'll look it up and I'll tell you tomorrow. But what a bloody mess we've made. Look at the state of it. Thick black crap. I am sure that is waste engine oil. There's no reason why it should be black. They've been filling it with engine oil. Right? Drain the engine oil out, put in the hydraulics. But it's alright. At least it's oil. At least it's not water. At least it's not full of metal filings. So that's it for Thursday, folks. I'm now going to start bringing my stuff back inside. I don't know why that stopped. Strange. Right, I'm going to bring my stuff inside and call it a day for today. I've got all the air cleaner bits painted. I've got the filter out. I've got all the crap scraped off there. I've got this out, ready for a much needed repair. As you can see, that is worn a little bit thin. So that's it for today, folks. See you all tomorrow. Bye now. That's what we're going to do. Right, folks, I'm going to call it in for this week. That's another week done, and we've made progress. The filter has cleaned up beautifully for the hydraulics. That's okay. I've still got to locate real controversy over what oil you put in the back axle. According to most of the Fordson sites, they say any oil right? Straight 30 hydraulic oil is what they use now, as long as it's mineral oil. You mustn't use a synthetic, because synthetics damage the seals in the hydraulics. So any oil as long as it's mineral oil. So it looks like I'm after some SAE 30 mineral hydraulic oil, but I've also got to get engine oil and probably gearbox oil. So what I'll probably do on Monday is I'll nip down to Scruton's and see what their prices are like on oil and see what their advice is, because I need to get those shackles for the check chains anyway. So I will see you all next week, except there'll be a bonus video in between. So thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you all next week.